So nobody knows that happened. Um, this is great. Michelle and Sheena, I'm so glad you guys came. I still want to have like wine night, uh, value added wholesale discussion, but this will give you a good start on if
Yes,
we're gonna want to do that or not.
I'm in for that.
I think that's where we should discuss it. Okay, I've got a cool slideshow. Whoa, it's big. Okay. So I'm gonna just kind of talk about how the wholesale program ran last year with our grant funded staff, and increased power to reach out to customers and to plan with producers. We have not done very much value added sales or flower sales, but I will talk to what we did do with that and what I think that we could do in the future. So how the process works is basically either a producer will bring a customer to the food hub and say, I want to do these sales or this sale through the food hub, have you distribute, have you do all this stuff. Or WIG can bring a customer to a producer and say, do you want to sell this product wholesale? We have somebody who wants a product that you have. So that's how it starts, and it's always kind of three parties are involved. So that there's not a lot of just scrolling through the site and ordering as there is with retail customers. So with your retail customers, you kind of want to have some new stuff every once in a while, and they're scrolling through their like shopping, like online shopping, getting their stuff that they want, seeing, what they might want. And with the wholesale buyers, they know what they want already. So they're going to come to the food hub when they want something that we have. Just like if somebody wants roast beef, they're going to be like, well, I guess I have to sign up and order from Peterson's because that's where I can get that. And it's the same with the food hub. It's like, oh, I want local grains from this farm, and that's only available through the food hub. So that's I'm gonna set it up and order from them. And then once we get that sale and that relationship started, that can open up that customer to having more local products. So that customer is brought to do a sale, sales established, and this can be, maybe it's like a one-time thing where uh, a customer wants a product and we source it for them, even if it's through a producer that doesn't normally sell wholesale through us, or that isn't selling wholesale at all. We can still establish kind of those special sales if we know where a product is. And then another kind is like setting up a weekly sale, like we have a flower budget of this, and every week you're going to bring me that. Then the wig staff will just set that sale up to go every week. And that's probably the best cost option is if you can get those recurring orders set up. And then wig handles procuring that product or however that's going to work, then aggregating, delivering, billing, reporting, and producer payments. And you can drop your stuff off at aggregation, just like you normally would right now for Fridays, or when Wednesdays open again, you can do it then. And then all parties maintain communication. So the customers might like to come out and see your farm, or maybe like when you're in Oak Harbor, you stop into the shop that bought your product. We send out like weekly fresh sheets and, try to have communication as well in whatever ways through our marketing channels And having that's there's kind of, I think, just like this level of uh marketing that happens at that level across the island. So that's kind of what um we're trying to develop and kind of get into. This is the logistics of kind of or of the Wednesday order period. So, um, right now we're not doing the Wednesday order period, but we're going to be opening it up really soon, as soon as some local greens and stuff come on. And that order period is only for wholesale customers. So the retail customers can't see that, and it's a different drop off. So that order period is Friday at noon to Monday, or Friday at 9 a.m. till Monday at noon. So the wholesale customers get kind of like a first glance at what's available on the food hub before the retail customers can start ordering at noon. Uh, you can start listing your products same time as retail or as Friday. Thursday at 6 a.m. So you have a whole 24 hours where you can list and, update your products and stuff before the customers see it. And you can list in both order periods and it will track the inventory across. LFM will track the inventory. And then order drop-offs are Wednesday mornings, 9 a.m. at EB or 10 a.m. at Langley. Um, And that can be flexible. Sometimes we have a Tuesday aggregation as well, like in the summertime. And then orders are delivered 12 to 3 on Wednesdays. So we get all that product in and turn it around really fast. That's why in the summer we had a Tuesday aggregation as well, so that we could do some of that ahead of time and get out on time. But um, the restaurants, especially the Coupeville restaurants, which we have most of those as our customers, and they don't want things too late in the day. So we do work with, we know the customer's preferences, and we work to that as much as we can. Oh, and then, like I said, wholesale customers can also order for the Friday order period. So right now, everybody's ordering for the Friday order period. Um, and so wholesale customers can just order your product whenever if they want. They see a different price because their markup is lower. Their markup is 18%. So if you're listing a product for $5, they're going to see it as 5 times 1.18 times 18%. But you get the same dollar amount producer payment either way. Whether it's a retail or a wholesale customer that orders, you still get the $5. So that's how that works. Wholesale customers may order any unit size. So I'm gonna kind of go on LFM and show kind of how we set products up for wholesale. But that is something to keep in mind is if you don't want wholesale customers to order one of something, then you're gonna have to work with an administrator on the administrator side of LFM to set that up. So you have to let us know on that. Um, so this is an example of a product, Brussels sprouts. It's a type A product because it has multiple units with one inventory. So this would not be like a value-added product because each of those are separate, but you could have it be value-added if you said, I have 10 bars of soap, I'm going to sell them by 1 bar and I'm going to sell a case of 6. Then your 1 bar of soap would be a multiple of 1, and your case of 6 would be a multiple of 6. Your inventory would be 10, and then if a case was sold, it would take out 6. And if a bar was sold, it would take out 1. And then if your inventory went down below 6, it wouldn't sell the case anymore. So that's kind of how you could set this up in a, I guess, for a value added, but usually this is how we do it for vegetables because there's so many different cases. So I have 1 pound bag, 5 pound bag, and 10 pound bag. I only want the 5 and the 10 pound bag options for wholesale, and I want the 1 pound bag option for retail. So you have to ask me to do that. And I'm going to go to here. This is all the products that are live on the Food Hub um, for this last order period. And from here, I can go over and I can hide this product from different customer types. So I can hide the 1 pound bag from the wholesale customers. And then I could go into the next one and I could hide the retail bag from or the 3 pound, 5 pound bag from the retail customers, whatever. You guys get it. I know it's kind of a crazy system and way to set it up. Um, Again, I think for a value added or even for flowers, like once you have it set up, it stays set up, right? So it's not, there is a heavy administrative setup cost, but once it's set up, it's just going to always do that. For vegetables, it's a little bit different because it's just varying so much all the time that you kind of have to work more closely with us on making sure those updates keep happening. And really, what we saw last year was that the wholesale customers were ordering the smaller amounts, and the farmers that didn't want to bring the smaller amounts. They wanted to sell, obviously the wholesale in cases. So there was a lot of that needed to take place. But um, we'll just try to work with uh, how you want to get it set up and keep perfecting it. LFM is just crazy in terms of a system. So types of wholesale buyers, all of these different types of buyers are going to potentially want different things. So a restaurant, they might not want beautiful. I mean, of course, they want beautiful bunches of carrots, but they might want a case of carrots versus, bunched together. Whereas a retailer or a market is going to want those bunches of carrots with the Booby Island grown or some kind of fancy, twist tie on it. Um, they are also going to be more likely to want labels on products on like bag greens. And they are also potentially going to want uh, dates, like pack dates and things like that. So those are things that a larger distributor would offer or would, obviously have. And it's we want it to look as similarly as possible to all of the other distributors that they deal with so that they don't have to, make too many concessions or to have things look different. So that's something to think about if you're wanting to get into wholesale and like what to invest in. I think having a labeling system and a dating system would be two really good things to have. And then the bottom two, these I would consider to be like higher volume for food. Um, and this is something that I really want to get into in terms of how can we aggregate larger volumes of product to go to these types of kitchens. Um, so that is something that we're kind of work on this year. And then some lessons that we learned from last year that I think are like going to be some really good tips. Packaging and labeling, I just kind of went over that, but packaging your boxes and your cases and having packed on dates. establishing buyers. So that's something that we were able to do last year, was establish some more buyers. But again, like I said in the beginning, working together on bringing in buyers is really how we get people to order from us in the beginning. Setting boundaries. So, like, where do you want your wholesale, any personal business wholesale versus selling on the food hub? What are those boundaries? Because if you are selling your own product in an area and you're also selling in the food hub and the food hub sells in that area, then you are kind of competing with yourself, um, in terms of reaching those same kind of very small pool of buyers. So where are you going to be setting those boundaries, and how do you want to do that? We can help with that. We worked on that a lot last year. And then creating sales goals with us. Um, it, if you want to sell something, grow something to sell, we want to work on selling it for you, but we don't want to kind of tell you what to grow or what to sell. Um, it's something that kind of has to be worked out together. So, creating those goals with us makes it easier for us to know like what we need to be looking out for when we're having conversations with all of these buyers, or where to look for new buyers, for next year. Cultivating buyers, saying the same thing over and over, but um, this is kind of what WIG is working on, is producer buyer relationships. We just had a networking event, and continue to try to facilitate those producer buyer relationships for everyone that's using the food hub. So they have that perk. Pricing, if you don't know how to price something, we do have Puget Sound Food Hub and Charlie's logins, and we can tell you kind of what those prices are. Not that you should have your prices the same as those big distributors, but just so that you can see kind of what a comparable option for that restaurant or that buyer would be. Um, the customers and the buyers are not buying for price, they're buying for getting local products. So, you should price how you wish. Volume of product, like I said, trying to aggregate and kind of pool together some similar products so that we can be offering a larger volume, for a longer period of time to kitchens. And then transport services. So in addition to selling on the food hub, our truck is running to Skagit Valley once a week and back to the Puget Sound Food Hub, to pick up our order. So we have backhauled product from Woodby to Puget Sound and back. We also have just a delivery option, that I know Michelle has used, which is a third-party delivery. If you um, have a delivery, that you don't want to make, you can drop it off with your Food Hub orders, and we'll make it for the delivery fee. Um, and other ways, you want to be on our route, like, let's talk about it. We'd love to have our truck being as useful as possible while it's making these extremely expensive trips up and down the island and over to Skagit Valley. And then value-added catalog, looking at seeing if we can put together kind of an offering. And potentially, other collateral that could come with it, that would, at all these little shops around the island that people and especially tourists are going to come to, that we can flag that this is all Woodby Island grown product, and feature each of the producers in there and help those retailers and markets feature all of that stuff. So I think that would be a very cool project, that we can maybe get going. So that is kind of my information. But I wanted to leave as much time as possible just to talk about questions that you have and ideas for distribution.
One question I have, Shannon, is when you talk about when I'm listing it, say I have 100 stems of snapdragons
Okay.
total, and I can offer them in 10 stem bunches or 20 stem bunches.
Mhm.
If I give you the number that I have available, where do I put that in on this site?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll show you. Um, Let me go to, okay, so you're gonna go to your products and you will like say you have these daffodils.
Yeah,
They might be types listed as type C right now, your snapdragons might. So you
yeah.
would make them type A and then you would make them by the each unless it has stem. No. So you could make it by the each. So that'd be kind of the same as stem. And
Hmm.
then you 10 stems, multiple 10, 20 stems, multiple 20. So then you get all that done, good to go. And then when you add your inventory, you're gonna add
Oh,
100.
okay. Yep.
hmm And then it will uh figure that out, all that math out for you. But then there's always still a little math to do because when that looks a little crazy over here, like, okay, what's a good one where there's both? So on the parsnips, so I have sold six, how many? Okay, I have 50 pounds of parsnips. I've sold six 2-pound bags, one 5-pound bag, and one 20-pound bag, but it doesn't tell me, how much that is total.
Yeah.
So it's kind of complicated, but that's how you do that.
Okay. That makes sense.
Shannon,
hmm
um, so if we see that we're going to have a lot of something coming up for the following week, what's the best time to let you know that, hey, I'm going to have a lot of this available the coming week? Is that on like Thursday or Wednesday, or what are the best times to let you know, give you a heads up when we think we're going to really have something extra that we want to make sure you're aware of, and we can push that so we aren't left holding a lot of it.
Yeah, that's a great question. And in my first presentation, I was kind of talking about when the retail customers order. And the wholesale customers, most of them, and especially our higher volume customers, are going to order on Friday. And we've been sending out a fresh sheet on Friday morning. So getting on that fresh sheet in that email, um, and having your product listed by 9 a.m. so that it's available for viewing the whole time. That would be number one. We don't really have um, a good way to like quickly sell a bumper crop. We do have a couple relationships with customers that we can talk to, and they will likely take like an additional case of something. But other than that, like we haven't had too much success with that. And one of the reasons for that is because our customers have already know what they want. So if you're having a bumper crop of something like tomatoes, let's say, our customers have already established kind of buying relationships for tomatoes because they want it already. So if it was something that we didn't normally have, like cauliflower, uh, where we don't know what the market is for cauliflower, but also our buyers aren't necessarily set up within their kitchens to buy cauliflower. It's what's working the best is when those relationships are pre-established and
So
what
so
the
many of
buyer
the
wants it is already known.
Yeah, so many of the chefs, they have their set menus for a period of time, and they want to be able to fill um, have access to the things that they need for that specific menu through that period of time. And but there might be a point where you can anticipate, it might maybe it's 6 weeks ahead of time, and they're looking to shift their menu into going into like the fall season from the late summer season or something like that. And you're going to have certain squashes or things like that to be able to give a heads up and maybe put out a feeler or let people know, hey, fall's coming up. This farm's going to have a lot of this, this type of squash or something like that. Could uh, maybe create some sales in that way that, the chef hadn't really thought about having that specific item on their menu or not, but things like that.
Yeah,
Um,
I think definitely that. And also hoping with some of these larger kitchens that they might have like a local salad bar option that could be more flexible with what would go into it
yeah.
based on a bumper crop situation sometimes. So I think that's a really good reason to be kind of pursuing um, those types of buyers that we're not really in with so
Hmm.
much. Mhm. I think for flowers, if we're looking, we can, kind of start off a season asking, who might want weekly flowers and what they would want and kind of get that set up ahead of time or anytime that we get a buyer on, if we know it's an option and something that you would want us to try to set up for you,
Yeah.
Susan.
Uh-huh. That makes sense. Yeah.
Um, But yeah, and having more Oak Harbor customers would be, I think, ideal.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how many retail or stores buy from you guys currently?
Yeah, it's not uh like I said, it's mostly vegetables. I didn't really talk about this too much. The only value-added thing that we really sell is the Mutiny Bay Blues granola and blueberries.
Mhm.
Um, because they just had established with a lot of little places, and then they said we're just going to go through the food hub. So those are kind of smaller. But so we're selling to Blooms and Bites in Oak
Mhm.
Harbor. Um, and Three Sisters, Green Bank Pantry, which that Green Bank store will probably be open at some point, and that would be a good one. And then the Goose,
Okay.
is it?
And because Michelle and I basically we sell the bath and body products, can you show us kind of how that would look? Like, let's say if we're selling something by like 10 units, how we set that up. This is my first time looking at any of this, so I'm still a little bit confused.
Totally. Let's do one. Okay, so say well, just soap is easy for me to like
Okay.
conceptualize
Okay.
how it would work. Where to go? No, I don't know.
So it'd still be type A.
So I would do it as type A.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't have to actually, it's totally up to you because you could also just say I have one case and
Okay.
it's not affecting the the inventory of the single bars.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if it was a type A, then we would do like 1 bar and the multiple is 1 and the sort is 1. So it'll come up first. And then you can hide it if you don't want to sell 1 and you only want to sell by the case or vice versa. And then
Okay.
case of 10, no discount. Oh, that's not nice. Um, and then you can select multiple pictures. Then down here at the bottom, you're going to want to make sure that if you want to sell in the Wednesday order period, that both of these are checked. The wholesale customers can order on Friday. I feel like the value added uh, products specifically, like if we wanted to do a push for value added products, that'd be great to almost have like a once a month order period that
Mm-hmm.
we marketed heavier and that you all marketed as well as like, hey, this is the time to get your order in versus every week when the
Yeah.
orders might be smaller.
Correct. Yeah.
Um, so if that were to happen, it like at this time, it doesn't matter if it's in the Wednesday or Friday order period. I think that would just be like what was best for everybody. And then for attributes, you can also, this is the Whidbey Island grown one. And this is like if there's bulk items, you can click these. I do not know how much people use these, but you can do that.
Awesome.
Okay, so then I made that. Then I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna put in 10. So I'll list 10, and then if someone buys a case, it'll be sold out. If someone buys 1 bar, the case will be sold out. And that's why you might not want to do it that way. Maybe you do want to do it type C. You can change your mind. So if I change it to a type C, then I can put 1 bar, I have 5, and 1 case, I have 1, like that.
Okay, so I've been doing everything type A. I guess I'm, I don't know, I'm pretty type A. Is that wrong?
Yeah, probably all your products will all be type C products unless you do a case and have an inventory. But um because you probably just have 1 unit for each product, then it doesn't matter really.
Okay, that makes sense. So, at what point should we go in and get our inventory up to date and listings up to date in order to for wholesale? Like, are you thinking like a month or like when do you think we should start working on that?
Um, that's a really good question. I think it'd be good to have it set up before the main season because that's when we'll be doing probably more of the marketing. Um, so that would be maybe by May. I also think it'd be cool to have like a catalog, type of thing, but we are kind of doing some grant transitioning. So I don't really know like what all is going to happen with that. But I think we should get together soon and, make sure it's worth like going forward with and everybody wants to do it and what it would,
I think
how we
that if
feel.
I think that if, let's say, restaurants or, whoever the goose knew that they could buy Sheena's soap for their bathroom, or something, that maybe they would do that. I think that maybe the thought just hasn't crossed their mind because it's not lettuce, or flowers or something that's a little more obvious, like that it's obviously grown here, yeah, I think a catalog, it doesn't even have to be a catalog, just something that lets people know what there is if they're not looking on the site itself, the LMF.
Yeah. And we could do, I love that so much. And I think that's such a great like marketing take that we could do with the buyers. And then also there's like Captain Woodby has a little store.
Mhm.
Right? And I
Yep.
always forget about that, like every time I walk by it into the kitchen. But they would be kind of perfect for this, that type of thing. And that's a restaurant, but it also has that other option. I think Langley Kitchen has kind of been having some of that too, where you can also buy like other products in there. So a lot of like crossover with the buyers that they're not thinking about and that we haven't encouraged them to think about because we haven't had it set up yet. Um, what was I gonna do on here? I just forgot. Well, anyway. Um, yeah.
So next steps, get together. Maybe I'll bring our laptops, figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hey, Shannon,
Mm-hmm.
have you guys may have considered this, but how we make people who have B&Bs or VRBOs aware of these types of products, which would be a real, special thing. There's where maybe there's something that just a sheet that can be handed to the people who have B&Bs or VRBOs or whatever, they can know what's there. They could even put it out for the visitor, and the visitor could go online maybe and buy stuff like that. So just the specialty products that you're talking about here, I think are just ideal for, people who are passing through. The timing has to be right, or maybe there's, to make that happen. But or maybe those people have them, buy them and make them available, yeah, in their bed and breakfast or VRBO, whatever. But um, yeah,
Yeah, that's a great point, John. Thank you. Yes, and we did have one Oak Harbor Airbnb order. Um, I hope I didn't scare him off. I was so excited.
and
It's such a good
and
idea, but and
well,
where to find those people. Like maybe we could get some help with that if anybody knows.
the other group that comes to mind immediately is Camp Casey because they've got all those rentals now,
Hmm.
the officers' quarters and all that. So, and as you talk to them about food, here's another totally different, opportunity. So that's just kind of hip pocket. Keep that in mind, maybe.
Yes, I love that. Okay, and then I was just thinking these custom lists. We could we could do potentially a Wednesday custom list. So this, I have to make this by like clicking each product. Um, but okay, guys used to seeing it like this. Uh, so then you can search just Bath and Body. And potentially if there's a Wednesday one where you could search just value added. Um, and just kind of look through that. I will see if that is something that we could get set up. Cool.
I
Um,
have a question, another question about the images that we put, I think you can put like 3 images associated with a product. Um, and sometimes I get an image that I want to get rid of, and I have trouble getting rid of it. And I want to, I might have two listed and I want to select one of two, and I can't figure out how to get the one that I want to show. I don't know. There's clearly something I just don't understand about that.
I have found that too. If you can't reorder them, so you have to just like delete them and start over.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, as far
That's,
as I know.
okay. That's
That
that's
yeah, you have to click the image that you want. Number one, you have to click it in box number one.
Hmm.
It's very particular.
yeah, that's just seems to me maybe again feedback for LFM. There needs to be a smoother way to change those images around, rather than it's really pretty clunky, I guess.
Yeah, I wish it was something that could be done super quickly so it could be dynamically changed and people would know right away what
Mhm.
they were getting. That would be super awesome. Any other questions? Let me see about putting something out for what days people would be available to meet up and talk about this. Because there's a couple other Oak Harbor people, and then some just others on the island that maybe they wouldn't want to meet up in person, but hear what we were talking about. Yeah, and I'm happy that we're able to do this while we still have our grant funding as well, because this is exactly what that stuff is for.
When does the grant end, just out of curiosity?
End of September.
Okay. Okay, so through the summer then, that's good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Once we get established, hopefully
Yeah.
uh it won't be as costly to keep going as it is to do the development. So having a whole season to do it, I think would be awesome. Yeah. Plus, we also have a producer that goes to the peninsula.
Mm,
So there's that too.
cool.
Port Townsend.
I need to go there.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love it there. Walk over on the ferry.
Yeah, that's what everybody says.
Yes. And Susan, if you want to chat about your customer and how to get started with that too, we can do that.